This is module number 4, Staking. For this module, refer to Garden Notes number 654. Following planting, staking may not be necessary. So if we're doing all of the tree planting steps, we're following them to protocol, and that most important step of making that soil donut or firming soil around the base of the root ball prior to the backfill process, staking for the most part is not going to be a necessary activity. But staking might be necessary in 3 different situations. So first, if it's a windy site, and by wind it means perpetually windy. Perhaps it's a north location, it's through a wind tunnel, then staking may be required. The second is if we're trying to protect the tree from people or activities. So if the tree is being planted in a park or on a golf course or in a very busy backyard that gets a lot of activity, then staking might be necessary. And the third requirement would be if this tree can't support its own weight. But really that comes back to us as consumers making sure that we're buying and demanding quality nursery stock. We shouldn't be buying trees that can't stand up on their own, and instead we should be focusing on trees that are of high quality. Stakes should only be left on for 1 year. And so what I recommend is that after you plant the tree, make a note in your calendar 1 year later to remove those stakes. Oftentimes, stakes are left on the landscape because they just tend to blend in. The tree isn't new anymore, it's becoming established, and so the stakes are forgotten because we've moved on to other aspects of the landscape. But if we leave those stakes on for too long, they can do more harm than good. So they can cause damage to the trunk, they can produce uneven xylem formation. Here's a photo of a tree that was damaged by a stake. So even though they used the right materials, these wide canvas straps, you can see that on this tree, and this was a type of maple, that it just started to grow into the bark. And so this was an example of a staking strap that was left on too long. And this tree was going into its 3rd growing season. Another great example, we don't recommend using any sort of rubber or wire or garden hose anymore during the staking process, but again you can see how easily that rubber and wire girdled into the trunk of the tree, and then as a result this tree has developed cytospora, which is a disease that stressed trees get, and it can cause fatality to the tree long term. So this tree now has 2 problems. 1, it's been girdled by the staking straps, and 2, it's developed cytospora. The staking materials you should use are these flat canvas straps. They might be green or brown. Some of them might be black, but they're going to be about an inch and a half wide, and they'll have 2 grommets in the end in which you can attach your wire to your staking posts. This is just a schematic of how to stake properly. So we're going to put 2 posts into the ground, generally outside the planting hole if possible, and then we're going to attach our staking straps. Make sure that your staking straps are nice and loose. The tree should have the freedom to move in the wind. It shouldn't be rigid. So make sure that you do allow them to move. And then again, we are only leaving those staking straps on for 1 growing season. If we leave them on any longer than that, they are going to damage the tree. So make sure those staking straps come off if you are staking. Coming up is module number 5, and we are going to talk about watering trees, watering those mature trees in our landscape.